He's going to be telling you a lot about some public service initiatives that are out there and things that she can provide or her employer provides to the Clearwater area in northern Pinellas County. So I think it's going to be a great show tonight. But before I get into that, we will also still be taking legal questions. So if you have questions about personal injury law, workers' compensation, Social Security, whatever it may be, you can still call in with those questions as well. My guest is probably not going to answer those. She'll let me handle those. But you do still have an attorney here on the line. So feel free to call in with those questions. And I will give you the call-in number one more time. It's 441-3000. Now, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to our guest that we have here with us tonight. I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about herself. But her name is Teresa Conti. She's the executive director and CEO of the Clearwater Bar Association, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that's awesome. And I want you to kind of tell me what you do. What do you do at the Clearwater Bar?
So at the Clearwater Bar, the main part of my job, right, is to provide our attorneys and judges with continuing education, networking opportunities, and then also be involved in our community. And then we're always listening to where there's needs in the community and then the best way to fill those needs.
Okay.
And how the bar can help. The attorneys have a big heart, and a lot of what I do is making sure that everybody knows that and understands that.
Right.
So we have several things that we do through either a lawyer referral service program or self-help centers or legal fairs that we try to reach out as I'm out there networking in the community or on the boards. Mm-hmm. What I hear people are saying that there's a need to be filled.
And you are the queen networker. I will say that. If there's anybody that's great at networking, it's Teresa Conti. I will tell you that. She just has that personality that you're amazing at that. So when you're out in the community, obviously, I'm sure that it comes up, but I'm curious as to, what's I feel like the lawyer referral service is not something that a lot of people know about in the community. Is that right? Or
yes.
People? Okay.
So I think what happens is we get referrals from law firms or they may call the Florida Bar.
Yeah, we refer people to you guys all the time.
So we get calls from the Florida Bar, or some people go to the clerk's office. They're not really sure. They just received a letter that they're being sued or something is going on.
Right.
And so the first thing they do is go to the courthouse. They'll refer to us, or if they've been a past user. But the nice thing about the lawyer referral service is it's an opportunity for our members to go ahead and be a panelist, and they choose what area of practice that they would like to speak to someone about.
Okay.
And a caller, and it's calls only, but callers call in. I have several coordinators, and they work with the callers on getting them with the best fit attorney.
Okay.
So based on the information they tell us, we'll figure out, do they need an elder law attorney? Do they need a personal injury attorney, medical mal? The callers would normally pay $50.
Okay.
But that gets them up to a 30-minute consult. So in order to be our lawyer referral service panelist, obviously they have to be an attorney with the Florida Bar in good standing. They provide us all their insurances.
Okay.
And then they volunteer to be on the panel.
So the ones that are taking the calls and helping people are licensed Florida attorneys, or is it the people that they were being referred to?
The people they're being referred to. So when they're calling the bar office, sometimes it's students from Stetson.
Okay,
we have a few people that are retired, and they're just navigating and getting people to the right area. So they call in, they kind of do an intake like they would at a law firm.
Right.
Ask some questions and then refer them to the correct attorney. And there's some areas of law where we follow the same guidelines that the Florida Bar has for lawyers. So if it's personal injury, we don't charge, or medical mal, or Social Security. So that
consultation might actually be free.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So I guess that's my question. So if we're sending somebody to you guys, let's say somebody actually calls the law firm that I work for, Parent and Call Favorable Noise, and they're telling us about a legal issue that we unfortunately don't do or we can't help them with. It's outside of our practice area. And so we recommend that they reach out to the Clearwater Bar. When they call and they pick up the phone, is it kind of like up front, hey, you might need to pay a consultation fee, or they kind of get the facts, the information? How does that whole process work?
So when they first call in, we do have a phone system that greets them right away. And it explains that they're calling the lawyer referral service. What are the areas of practice that we collect the 50 for? What areas aren't included in the $50?
Okay.
And that and it's live call. So it'll let you know where you are in the queue.
Oh, okay.
And then the coordinator will go ahead and ask the questions to get them to the right area.
Right. And they kind of help determine what area of law it falls in.
Right. And sometimes we're not attorneys, right? So sometimes they may have to call back and it may be
that wasn't the right kind of law.
Right. Well, or it might be personal injury defense. So so you're explaining that, we have to have somebody that will do defense. Even though they have insurance, they may have more net worth.
That makes sense. Okay, so then I guess my question would be, if I don't really know what kind of area of law I need, your coordinators kind of help the callers figure that out.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what kind of case this is. I don't know what kind of lawyer I need. The coordinators kind of help them walk through that.
Right. They just keep asking questions. And we do have a program, so it helps them narrow it down. But if it's something that's really not that they've ever heard before, they'll put them on hold, come ask me. I've been part of the legal field for 11 years. So I've come across probably a lot of things. But if it's really something I don't see, that I haven't heard, then I'll ask them to get their name and number, that we're going to do a little research and get back with them. Right. Because sometimes we may not have a panelist, but we may have a director or a member that does what they're looking for.
I see. Okay.
So I hate to not give someone a resource if we don't have a panelist, right?
At least point them in the right direction.
Exactly.
I gotcha. So then the attorneys that are on the panel, are they volunteers? Is it pro bono or
no? So it is an avenue for the attorneys to have an opportunity to meet a potential client. So they do it because the goal would be, it would be great. They give the advice. And if it's something that someone can do on their own or go to the clerk's office, they'll let them know. Okay. Or if they can take care of it for them, they'll let them know, oh, yes, you do have a case. Here's kind of what you're looking at. This is what the cost would be. And they can retain the attorney. So the benefit to the attorney is it might be a client that isn't using the internet or normal, asking their best friend. They came to us from one of the main sources we normally get referrals from. Right. And so it gives them an opportunity to have business.
So do you find that most people that call do end up retaining somebody, or how does that tend to work? Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, I would say probably more than 75% retain the attorney.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. So, and that's what I wasn't clear on, is if it were like a pro bono situation or people actually retain the attorney and they work out some sort of agreement with.
So we do receive calls if someone has no money at all. Then we do have our legal aid partners. So the first thing we do is we look at Bay Area Legal Services.
I was going to say, let's plug those services too.
Yes.
Who are those folks?
So normally that's our first go-to, because we have a good partnership at the Clearwater Bar, but we also work with Gulf Coast. We also work with Community Law Group, all the different nonprofits in the area. And we have like a little sheet that kind of gives us a summary of what each area may or may not do. Okay. Because they get funding, and their funding may be for a certain area of practice, but not another area of practice.
That makes sense.
So if they just have no money, then there's really, if the $50 may not be something they can do, we try to go ahead and refer them to one of the legal aids.
Gotcha. And so is Bay Area Legal the organization that kind of covers the Clearwater area?
So it's North Pinellas, Pasco, and I believe Tampa.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. And so I remember there was community law program. Is that still around? That was
That's
something
still
I think I
around.
did in law school. I volunteered with them.
And they're more South County.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, we
Gotcha.
do we
Okay.
do have them on our list.
Yeah.
So we'll first, if it's an area of practice that Bay Area may do, we'll go ahead and send that. But
Right.
we definitely have community law group on there.
Right. Okay. So for our listeners, obviously, that are in Northern County and you are able to reach out to the Clearwater Bar, I'm going to give you the lawyer referral service number as we're talking about it. So that way, if you need it, you can always call. So the number, I hope I have this right, is 727-461-4880, right?
Correct.
So that's the lawyer referral service number at the Clearwater Bar. But of course, there are some legal aids that they can direct you to if you're unable to pay the consultation fee. Like Teresa said, it's Bay Area Legal. If you're listening in more South County, then it may be community law program, right?
Correct. And there's several. But yeah, we try our best to find a resource.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's also the self-help center. So if anything, if it's a landlord-tenant issue or small claims, family law matters.
Okay.
Those are things that they can get at the self-help center. So we help staff North County's courthouse, Clearwater Courthouse, and St. Pete Courthouse.
Okay. Oh, well,
So-
that's the whole county.
Yeah, that's the whole county. It's fun. I always have a good time interviewing the attorneys because, they really do it out of the goodness of their heart. Sometimes it's a 4-hour day or an 8-hour day. It depends. Right. So yes,
that is pro bono work, right? Is there
not totally, but I mean, it's
at the self-help. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's
not great.
Yes, yeah, not because I said they really do it out of the.
Yeah.
I would say it's more heart than anything else.
Sure. Okay. So then help me understand how that works then. So obviously you're the one that's helping get the attorneys there to assist people at the self-help.
Right. Center. So our clerk, I can't tell you how long ago, but probably more than 10 years ago, thought about this program because he saw one of the other counties in Florida doing it.
Okay.
So he brought it to Clearwater. And so we have a contract, and basically the contract says, hey, Clearwater Bar, if you can find the attorneys, these are the days that we need the self-help centers staffed.
Okay.
And that's how it coordinates. So,
and what are they getting when they go see one of the attorneys that you staff? I know you said it's limited to family law, landlord tenant, small claims, but let's say I have a landlord tenant issue and I'm going to the self-help center and you've got a wonderful staffed attorney there. What am I going to be able to do there?
So really they book the appointment with the clerks or they book it online. They pay, I think it's like $1 a minute.
Okay.
So they can do it in 15-minute increments up to 1 hour.
Sure.
And it really is to help them with filling out the paperwork.
Oh, okay.
So they'll direct, they can't be they're not their attorney, right? They're not retaining that attorney.
There's no relationship being formed.
Okay. But you can go ahead and purchase a packet, and some people do it on their own, and some people want the extra help. So they have a Florida bar attorney helping them fill out the package, and it'll tell them what's their next step. What does a motion mean? What do you do next?
So it's basically like you're doing it yourself with the help of an attorney
kind of guiding you.
That's why it's called self-help.
Right.
And the name speaks for itself. So then if you wanted to do like your own divorce and handle it yourself, then you go to the self-help and one of the attorneys can kind of walk you through the forms.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I did something like that early on in my career, although I've only done personal injury in my actual practice. I did volunteer a couple times a week at the self-help down in St. Pete, but it was more like a class. I didn't go to the courthouse or the clerk's office. Okay. They came to like a rec center and it was like one big class and we went over the forms together. So I think that's different than what Clearwater Bar does.
We do have clinics that'll happen through the Clearwater Bar Foundation. Okay. So that's the community outreach of the Clearwater Bar.
Okay.
So they do a lot of fundraising to be able to put on legal fairs, do legal education, and try to provide equal access to justice.
Okay.
So they might do a forms clinic. And it's exactly it's exactly what you explained, where, we'll set up somewhere, we try to advertise it, and whoever shows up that day.
Mm-hmm.
We usually have a lot more attorneys than we have people coming, but we take an ad in the paper, we put it on social media.
People know about it. I think we've got to get the word out more, because it's an amazing service. People just don't realize that they can actually meet with an attorney who helps them with these forms and things like that.
Absolutely. I think all three, so you try your best, whether it's legal affairs or the lawyer referral service or the self-help center. And like I said, we get calls that that's just where they started. A friend told them they use the lawyer referral service.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, and we try to help them out. But if it's anything strange, we do have 1,200 attorneys just in our base that.
As the members of the Clearwater Bar.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I didn't mention that I'm on the board, but you can see how clueless I am. I don't even know how many members we have.
But so that's the database that it goes out to. So then I try to.
So it's pretty robust that if you call, the likelihood of you getting into the hands of a really good attorney that can actually help you are pretty high.
Right.
So,
yes.
Absolutely. Okay. So then with the self-help, where are they calling? Are they calling you guys, or they just walk into the clerk's office?
Right. Okay. So normally they can go online and book the appointment themselves and pay their, like I said, I believe it's like $1 a minute and book their appointment ahead of time. Now that's usually what most people do, but sometimes they go in, buy a package. They're a little bit confused, and the clerks will tell them they can go ahead and make an appointment with an attorney, and that will be at the self-help center, and they'll tell them what days.
Gotcha.
So we have different days of the week that we're at different centers.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good time for us to take a short break, because then we'll come back and talk about some of the legal affairs and the things that maybe the foundation does. I see we've got some viewers on Facebook. Please like, comment, share. Hello, how are you? We love the engagement. So share it with your friends or whoever's watching tonight. We would love for you to repost us tonight. And we're just going to take a quick break, and we will be back shortly to talk more with Teresa Conti.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, call Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
We are back live with FLA Law and the radio. Hopefully you are still here listening with us. So I have Teresa Conti in the studio with me tonight. She is the Executive Director and CEO of the Clearwater Bar Association. And I have been talking her ear off about the services they provide through the lawyer referral service, the self-help consultations that they do with the Pinellas County courthouses all over the county. And we were just about to get into a little bit about some of the legal affairs and things that they do as well. But if you do have a question for Teresa or I, again, the call-in number tonight is 441-3000. Again, that's 441-3000. Or you can find us on Facebook Live. We are streaming live tonight. And our Facebook page is Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes Injury Lawyers. Feel free to drop a comment or a question for me or Teresa, and we will make sure we answer it for you live on the air. So let's get back to what we were talking about. Now, I know obviously the lawyer referral service has a really good network of attorneys. And I just was curious, do you recommend that people give you guys a call before maybe pulling out the yellow pages, or the yellow pages even exist anymore?
Well, so, I mean, of course, right. I run the bar. I would love for the people to call us. The benefit to the community, especially Pinellas, is that they're engaged members in the community.
Exactly.
So they can't, it's not, yes, they're with the Florida bar. They can't practice law without it.
Right.
But they're also regular members of the Clearwater bar. And we know that usually when they're members of a voluntary bar in their area, they're more engaged in their community.
Yeah, and I think people just tend to want to hire local lawyers that are in their neighborhood, in their community, that they feel like they have a stronger connection with them.
Absolutely.
So that's why you want to call the lawyer referral service.
Yes.
So I think we have a caller on the line. Our caller for tonight. How are you? Can you hear us?
Hi, thank you. Very good show.
Thank you. Go ahead with your question.
I have a question. There's so many lawyer commercials on TV. How do you know which one's the right one to pick?
Great question. That's actually kind of bounces off of what we were just talking about with Teresa, that, I think a good thing for you to do, obviously, is look at who's local in your community, somebody who's been around in the area that you are in and has longevity, and you know that their firm has stood the test of time, that this is not some fly-by-night or Johnny-come-lately attorney that's just kind of coming in and trying to put up a billboard, but someone that's actually established, to plug who we are. We've been around since 1955. We're one of the oldest injury law firms in Tampa Bay area. And so I think that does something you want to look for as somebody who's looking for an attorney. You want to also look for someone that maybe specializes in the area that you're in, and, depending on what the issue is. But you don't necessarily want someone who's a jack of all trades, or maybe not a master of none. You
Right.
want someone that kind of knows what they're doing. They specialize in that area, and they have the ability to take your case from start to finish. Not someone who may have to pawn you off to another lawyer because they're not able to carry it all the way through to the end. And again, to bring it back to us, we specialize in personal injury. So if it were a personal injury matter, I definitely think you should look for a firm that specializes in that area, or whatever it might be, right?
Absolutely.
And Teresa agrees with me. Does that answer your question, caller?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. It can get so confusing with so many TV commercials.
Absolutely. And of course, if it's not something that we do at Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, Noyes, you can always call the Clearwater Bar and speak to someone in their lawyer referral service. And I think they'll get you to a great attorney.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So that does free up a line if you are interested in asking a question, or want to have your question answered by myself or Teresa about the lawyer referral service or the self-help centers and the services that you can get from there. Feel free to give us a call. Again, the number is 441-3000. Okay, so let's talk about the foundation, because I got to be honest, I know that there's different things that the Clearwater Bar Association does versus the Clearwater Bar Foundation. And so you did kind of touch on it briefly about the fact that there are some legal fairs and clinics and things like that. So is that something CBA does, or is that the foundation? Or?
So really, to keep it at a 7th grade level, right?
Keep it simple for me. Yeah.
The Clearwater Bar Association, if it's anything that benefits the attorneys and judges, the Clearwater Bar Association handles it.
Okay.
If it's anything that benefits the community at large, then the Clearwater Bar Foundation takes care of it.
Makes sense. Okay.
So that's where legal fairs and scholarships and different outreach, where it's just regular citizens benefiting.
Yeah.
The foundation does galas. They do trivia nights. The attorneys of the Clearwater Bar donate to the foundation. We have a 10-10 campaign. All those things help create programs, because when people come to legal fairs, we try to have some breakfast. We try to, feed the volunteers that'll be there for 4 hours.
Sure.
We have things for kids, while their
make it
parents
nice for the community.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And of course, you want people to come out and take advantage of the services and not have, like you said, more attorneys than
and they do, which makes you feel good. And that's why it's easy to represent the Clearwater Bar. Our attorneys are amazing. I mean, they're always there to help. Sometimes there's 3 and 4 for each area of practice. And I mean, they'll wait, and the poor person that comes in, they have like 4 different people willing to help them in their area.
Tag teaming.
Yes, but they're great.
That's a testament to our bar association and the lawyers we have in this local community, that they are literally outweighing the people that need the help.
Yes.
So are there like staple clinics or fairs that you guys put on every year? Does it change? Is there something that people should look out for in the community?
So normally it's, we definitely do one during Pro Bono Week.
Okay. And when's that?
That is the last week of October.
Okay.
We try on a Saturday, if it's possible. Sometimes it's not possible. We're coordinating venues. So we'll do a weeknight.
Okay.
So, for example, this year we partnered with the Hispanic Outreach Center, and they let us use their office space and all their different rooms.
Okay, cool.
And it was nice because then they helped us advertise.
Private consultation.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes,
cool.
yes. And then St. Pete College will work with us a lot and let us have it, let's say, on a Saturday from 9 to 12. And then, of course, the churches in the area. So they may want to put on a legal fair to help out their parishioners. So we'll coordinate with them.
Okay. So then if somebody is curious, let's say Pro Bono Week in October is coming up and they want to know more about it or would like to advertise it, should they just call the Clearwater Bar to find out more information?
Yes.
Okay.
So can I say that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so
give it out. That's what we're here for.
If they call 727-461-4869 and say, they're interested in hosting, or they may be attorney and they're just hearing today for the first time, hey, I wouldn't mind volunteering. Can I save all that information in a share folder?
Right.
And that way, when it comes time, I already have the list of volunteers or venues that have asked, can we be there?
Right.
And we'll do, on occasion, we can do more than one, but usually we do one big one, and then we'll have small clinics around.
Right.
And again, it's depending on what the churches in the area are doing or some of the other community partners.
And just so I'm clear for our listeners and those that are viewing us online, these clinics and legal fairs actually allow the public to come in and meet with attorneys and talk to them in person about their legal matters. And they're basically having a consultation face-to-face, discussing various areas of law. So it could be criminal law, real estate, probate,
immigration, family, everything. Yes.
Awesome.
Construction law. We've had construction law the last 3 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't call me about that. I don't know anything about construction law.
But if anything, if they come in, let's say it is something unique and it's not an area of practice that happens to be there that day.
Right.
I just write down all the information, and I would do the same thing like I did. So come Monday or the next business day, I'm trying to find somebody, and I reach out to my directors first, and see, if it's an area of law that they practice, or do they have a colleague that may practice in that area that I can reach out to.
Makes sense. So then, if you come to one of the legal fairs or the clinics, are you able to sign up with a lawyer there? Or does that not happen?
Right. So when you're there, the lawyers are there to help guide you, answer a question. Sometimes a lot of people just need someone to talk to and know if it is even a case. Like they talk to family members, they talk to their friends. Everybody tells them they had a case, but they never talk to a lawyer. And they're like, I understand. They understand. They see their frustration, but it's not a case. Right. And you sometimes need to hear that.
Sure.
Or just, make people feel at ease. They may get a letter and we know that the letter is a form letter, but it's intimidating when somebody gets it in the mail and it has, a law firm's name on it.
Of that, yeah. Okay, well, that would make sense, especially sometimes if there's like collections or debts and things like that. People are frightened by it. Some of it could probably be scams too, I would imagine.
Right.
You get a lot of scam letters and people are like, what do I do?
Right, or call or, they call the number and give,
Exactly.
So we prefer that.
Good. So these services are out there, folks. If you are in the Clearwater area, Northern Pinellas area, the Clearwater Bar is a resource. And I do want to just kind of put it out there. And I know you asked me, can I give out the number? Can I say that obviously there's business owners, there's people out there who are listening. If they want to get involved, they want to help, they want to volunteer, they want to sponsor, is that something they could do and reach out to you guys?
Absolutely. So any of those things, right?
Okay.
There's many businesses that would like to get in front of attorneys, or it's an area of practice and their business can help, let's say, corporate business matters.
Mm-hmm.
So they absolutely can call the 461-4869 number, and we can talk through what are their needs, what are they looking to do. And a lot of people give to the foundation. So they have some extra funds. So like December is a good month because it's coming to year end. And if they were planning to spend this much on charity, they may go ahead and donate to the foundation. So that's always a nice surprise last quarter.
Right. And I know we have a big retirement community here in our area. Is there something that you need or would have available for folks that just want to help? They want to do something that could maybe give back to the community. Is that something that people could reach out to you about too?
Absolutely. So I think that people are starting to say, don't call me because I'll put everybody, I don't say no to volunteers. And God forbid they tell me they know how to use a computer. I'm like, that's it. But yes, we always can use volunteers, and whether it's for one event, whether they like golf and they want to help during the golf tournament, but sometimes they just want to. We have a volunteer who's amazing. Her name is Elisa, and she doesn't want to get paid. She just wants to volunteer, and I give her the schedule for like major events or luncheons, legal fairs.
Sure.
And she'll be there and greet everybody, help make name badges at the office.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's literally something for everybody. If you need legal advice, you need help from an attorney to handle your forms, if you want to volunteer, if you want to sponsor, this is a one-stop shop, right?
That's it.
Just call the Clearwater Bar.
Call the Clearwater Bar. You need your roof done, call me. He'll probably know somebody. I don't know. Yeah,
she will. That's Teresa. So this has been awesome talking to you and kind of going over what you can offer the community here in the Clearwater area and of course Northern County, but with the self-help you're covering the entire county. So as our listeners who are kind of all over the Pinellas County area as well, I hope this has been a great benefit. Is there anything else you want to tell us about the Clearwater Bar, the foundation, before we take another break?
No, I think we covered at least what I could think about right now at this moment. Yes.
While you're live on the air. Well, thank you so much, Teresa. You have been a pleasure co-hosting with me tonight. You are welcome to stay as long as you'd like. We will obviously be fielding calls and answering more questions for the next, 10 minutes or so. And so if anybody has questions for Teresa, speak now or forever hold your peace. But we're going to take another quick break and pause, and we will be back shortly.
This is the TAN Talk Radio Network.
In 1955, the law firm now known as Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes made a decision. Instead of taking whatever cases came through their doors, they decided to focus specifically on personal injury. 64 years later, the law firm is one of Clearwater's longest-running personal injury firms. Available 24 hours a day with offices in Clearwater and throughout Tampa Bay, they're ready to put decades of experience to work for you if you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident or injured due to someone's negligence or recklessness. If you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or unsure about your next steps after being involved in an accident or after a loved one sustained serious injuries due to someone else's negligence, Call Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes at 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. That's 727-796-8282 or online at usalaw.com. Non-attorney spokesman.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, you new to the area or just want to know about the best hidden gems and upcoming events? Stay tuned. Be Local Buzz with Devin takes you to these places, introduces you to the best businesses, and tells you about upcoming buzz. Preset your radio to Tan Talk 1340 AM or 106.1 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. That is the Be Local Buzz with Devin on Tan Talk 1340 AM and 106 FM every Thursday from 4 to 5. Looking forward to speaking with you.
Are you a writer, inventor? Do you have questions about your intellectual property rights? Well, tune in every Tuesday and Thursday morning at 11 o'clock for Joy on Paper. Once a month, I will have a special guest, the writer's legal eagle, Bill Larson of Larson & Larson, who can answer your questions. Protect your valuable work. Email me your questions to patsy.radio@gmail.com and then listen in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. right here on Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network. That's patsy.radio@gmail.com.
Do you have questions after being injured in a car accident or injured because of someone's negligence? Do you feel overwhelmed or uncertain about the next steps after being injured in a crash? The personal injury attorneys at Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes have been helping their injured clients since 1955 and are now on this radio station to provide guidance to you. Listen to FLA Law each Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. Let their decades of experience help you and your family. Offices in Clearwater, non-attorney spokesman. Too many of those who once wore our nation's uniform now sleep in our nation's streets. This new year, we urge listeners to volunteer or donate to local veteran organizations. It's the least we can do for our soldiers. Let's make sure that every veteran has a place to sleep. That's from Quillen's Cycle, your number one motorcycle repair shop, where they service ATVs and side-by-sides. For more information, call 813-714-1905. Quillen's Cycle in Dade City, where they thank our men and women in uniform who sacrificed so much.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we are back here in the station WTAN with FLA Law. Wasn't that awesome? We had a great guest speaker, Teresa Conti from the Clearwater Bar Association, telling us all about the lawyer referral service. And I do recommend giving them a call if you are just lost, you don't know who to call, you've got a legal matter, you're not sure what it is. If it's not personal injury and it's not workers' comp or Social Security, and you just aren't really sure who to reach out to, I think that's a great resource to call the lawyer referral service over at Clearwater Bar office. And again, their Clearwater Bar lawyer referral service is 727-461-4880. And she did mention to me as she was heading out of the studio that if you call the Florida Bar, they are also going to refer you back to Clearwater Bar because they essentially handle the entire county of Pinellas. So if you were to actually reach out to the overarching Florida Bar, looking for a referral, they're actually going to refer you right back to Clearwater Bar Association. So I think that's great to know that you're going to kind of use the resources that Teresa was telling you about. Now, like I said before, if it's personal injury, workers' comp, Social Security, car accident, slip and falls, then that's when you give us a call over at Perinick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes. And our website is usalaw.com if you're looking for us online. And so we have a few more minutes left in the show. I want to make sure I open up the line so that you can give us a call. I am here still to answer questions about any of your legal matters, but specifically, obviously, personal injury and workman's comp or Social Security disability. The call-in number is 727-441-3000. Again, that's 727-441-3000. Thank you to our viewers who are watching us online, on Facebook. Drop us a question or a comment in the chat. We are still here to discuss things with you and go over any questions you might have on the legal side. I did want to talk a little bit about auto cases again. I know we've been seeing a lot of various kind of auto injuries lately of, really bad accidents happening in our local area on 19 and kind of some flip and rollover accidents I've been seeing on my way home. And so I just want to make sure I publicize and reiterate, I can't say it enough, how important it is to carry uninsured motorist coverage. And we've talked about it before on Tuesday nights when I'm here with Daniel and Matt and the other attorneys at our firm. But we talk about it over and over again because it's extremely important, folks. And it is one of the most important coverages you want to carry on your policy because it protects you in the event that you're injured and the person that causes the accident doesn't have bodily injury coverage. And in the state of Florida, you are not required to have it. You don't need to carry it in order to be fully insured in the state of Florida. The state of Florida does not require bodily injury coverage as many states do. But because we have PIP, no fault coverage, we are a state that does not require for you to have BI or bodily injury. And a lot of clients that call us don't realize that. And they assume if someone hits me and I'm injured, that I can make a claim against their insurance, not only for my car to be fixed, but also for my injuries. But sadly, that's not always true. A lot of people are driving around and they assume that they're fully covered and they don't have bodily injury. And full coverage in the state does not mean that you have bodily injury or UM coverage. And so it's very important that if you're home, you're not driving, take a look at your insurance policy. I know a lot of people have the apps on their phones. They've got quick access to kind of pull up their coverages. Take a look at what you got. And if you have BI, then you need to check to see if you carry UM, because the UM is what's going to be there when the other person doesn't have the right coverage to protect you. If you are hurt and seriously injured in an accident, the only way for you to pursue that driver and make a claim is if he or she has bodily injury. Now you could say, well, what if they don't have bodily injury? Can I still sue them? Yeah, I mean, yes, technically, legally, yes, you can still sue an at-fault driver who has no bodily injury coverage, but the chances of you actually recovering and receiving anything are very slim. Technically, there could be someone who has assets or maybe they've got enough money that you could still pursue them and get a judgment against them. But sadly, what we found historically is that people that don't carry bodily injury coverage are the ones that unfortunately don't have any assets and they don't own any properties or they don't have a lot of money in the bank. And there are not people that you can actually get anything out of because they're what we call judgment proof. And the people that do have lots of assets, lots of money, they carry lots of coverage to protect themselves. So that is the worst thing that you could do is not carrying UM, because if that person seriously injures you, you're out of work. You've got mounting medical bills, and that party we find out doesn't have bodily injury. Well, guess what? The UM and your policy will kick in. And that's how you're able to be fairly compensated for your injuries. So it's best that you carry it and you carry as much as you can and you get it stacked. And you reach out to your insurance agent and you call them and find out how much UM coverage can I afford. I want to protect myself and my family because there's so many drivers out here on the road in the state of Florida who are driving around with just the PIP and the PD. That's the minimum coverage that's considered fully covered by law, but it doesn't cover the victim of an injury in an accident. So if I could leave you with any tip, that would be the one, that you pull out your phone, check your policy, talk to your agent if you have one, and make sure that you are covered with UM coverage today. That is the best thing you could do for you and your family, because that coverage actually follows you. So even if you get hurt in someone else's vehicle, you're riding with a friend, or you're in somebody else's car, or you're in an Uber, or you're on a bus or something like that, and you're not actually physically in your own vehicle, you still would be covered under your coverage that basically follows you wherever you are. And even if you're in a rental car or what have you. Now, sometimes there's specific policy exclusions and things like that. So obviously, we're happy to review any policy you have if you want us to take a look at your car insurance, no matter the carrier. We're happy to do that. But that is my one major tip for you today on tonight's show. Check your policy. Make sure you have coverage. Make sure you're carrying as much coverage as you can afford. I know that this is, economy that is challenging right now. A lot of people are dealing with the challenges of inflation. And that's one of the first things that we tend to see is that people will cut coverage. They'll kind of slim down on the amount of insurance that they're carrying. And they will kind of figure out, where can I save money? And that is not the area that you want to cut corners or save money, because your livelihood, your bodily injury, your ability to provide for your family in the event that you're seriously injured in a car accident could really seriously depend on whether you have that coverage. So that's very, very important, folks. Make sure you take a look at your policy, see if you have it. If you have any questions about it, feel free. We have a few minutes, so may not have a lot of time to take a whole lot of calls, but if you have a few minutes, if you have any questions about your insurance policy, about what you should have, what kind of coverage you should carry, how much of the coverage you should have, the different types of auto coverages, feel free to give me a call. Again, the number here in the station is 441-3000. But most importantly, even after the show, we're only here Tuesday nights at 5 for an hour, but we are here at our office Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5. So you can always call us at the office if you get off of the air and you think, I need to talk to them about my coverage, or I need to talk to them about my accident. They will. The attorneys at my office and myself are always happy to talk to you about that information, review your deck sheet if you want to bring it in, your insurance policy. I'll give you the number to our office as well. Since time is winding down here, you can always reach out to us at 727-796-8282. If you're into social media, you want to find us on the socials. We are Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, and Noyes Injury Lawyers on Facebook and YouTube. Pernick is spelled P-E-R-E-N-I-C-H. We would love for you to follow us and be our friends on those social media platforms. Also, we are on TikTok and Instagram, but our name is slightly different on there. It's PCAN Injury Lawyers. And that's what it is on TikTok and IG. Also, we are on Twitter as well. I believe it's PCAN as well. So like us, follow us. We have all kinds of fun content and as well as informative content about the law and injury cases. But we also post some fun videos on TikTok as well, here and there, me and my colleagues at the firm. Also, if you are a client of ours, we do have our client baseball game coming up in May, on May 5th. So if you're a past client, current client, and you are listening to us tonight and you're on the radio hearing this and you haven't gotten your postcard in the mail yet, definitely give us a call so you can RSVP. The baseball game to the Clearwater Threshers game will be happening this year. We haven't done it in a couple years, sadly, because of COVID, but we're back this year doing our client appreciation baseball game. So if you're a client of Pernick, Caulfield, Averill, Noyes, past or present, make sure you call us at the office so you can RSVP for the baseball game. And that will be happening on May 5th this year over at the Clearwater Threshers Stadium. So if you have any tips or advice or just want to know more about the area laws that we practice, we do have our website that has a robust, amount of blogs on there as well. If you just want to read about what we do and give you the website again, it's usalaw.com. This has been a great show. I want to shout out again to our guest who we had today, Teresa Conti. She's pretty awesome. And she was kind of shy tonight, but she is the networking queen. I think if you meet her in person, she is just one of the most bubbly and, kind people that you'll meet. So if you ever find yourself in the area and you're at the Clearwater Bar office or any Clearwater Bar events, definitely look out for Teresa. They're pretty awesome. And if you need to call her, you want to sponsor, you want to volunteer, you have questions about the lawyer referral service, you can reach them at 727-461-4869. Or if you need a lawyer referral and you're not sure what kind of lawyer you need, feel free to call the lawyer referral service at 727-461-4808. It's been a great show tonight, folks. Thank you, everybody who called in. That was a great question we had earlier today. Again, if you are on socials, feel free to keep commenting, leaving your questions. We will definitely answer them, even if we're off the air. Every Tuesday, at 5 o'clock, we are on the air at FLA Law. We will look forward to seeing you next week. We will have another special guest in the studio with us next week, who will be talking about various other areas of law. Her name is Attorney Sanatosha Siwar. She also practices here in Clearwater. She's going to be telling you about her mediation practice, real estate, and different areas of law that she practices. So that'll give you some variety, and you'll get to hear from lawyers that do other things aside from what we do as personal injury attorneys. So that's great. We look forward to having Attorney Siwar next week. We thank you, Teresa, for coming in today. And you guys have a great night. And again, this is FLA Law on the radio. Good night.
WTAN, Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF, Dade City,
FM 102.3,
WZHR, Zephyrhills,
FM 104.3.
Listen.
And a good Tuesday morning, Tampa Bay. Big Ed here on the Tan Talk Radio Network. Let's get you caught up on your Bay Area forecast. Being a nice looking day out there today. Low humidity, clear skies, high of only 80 degrees. Overnight low tonight, 61. Tomorrow's high looking at 84. Clear skies as the low humidity continues. Sunset this evening is at 7:58. Now, here's the latest of CBS News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Monica Ricks in New York. Fox News dodged a defamation trial today and agreed to pay Dominion Voting Systems $787 million for lying about its voting machines, claiming they helped rig the 2020 election. Dominion CEO John Polis.
Truthful reporting in the media is essential to our democracy. Dominion, our employees, our people, our partners are grateful to the court for allowing us the process for the truth to come out.
CBS's Scott McFarland has more reaction from both sides.
The Dominion lawyers say truth matters, truth does not know red and blue, and that lies have consequences. Fox saying, after the case settled, settlement reflects Fox News' continued commitment to the highest journalistic standards.
A scary garage collapse has killed at least one person in New York City.
The call came in just after 4 p.m.
37 Ann Street between William and Nassau for a parking garage collapse.
The collapsing of a parking garage near Wall Street in Lower Manhattan. At least one person's been killed, 5 others hurt. Bystander video showed cars hanging from a buckled upper deck of a 3-story building. FDNY officials say the building was so badly damaged that firefighters had to escape mid-search.
That's CBS's Matt Piper reporting. Also in New York today, police arrested a group that targeted gay men at nightclubs by drugging and robbing them. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg.
Nobody should have to worry about their safety and well-being when enjoying Manhattan's vibrant nightlife. And this investigation sends a clear message that we have no tolerance for this type of dangerous and deadly conduct.
At least 2 of their victims died. Southwest National Ground Stop today has delayed thousands of flights for folks across the country.
This is the second time we've had to go through this in 5 months? super frustrating.
The airline has been having tech issues. Protesters hit the streets of Kansas City today demanding justice for 16-year-old Ralph Yarl. He's at home recovering now after getting shot in the head by a homeowner for ringing the wrong doorbell. Yarl's mom, Cleo Nagby.
Mostly he just sits there and stares, and the buckets of tears just rolls down his eyes. You can see that he's just replaying the situation over and over again, and that just doesn't stop my...
Now, here's the Only in America Minute, sponsored by MyPillow. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code BILL. Here's your host, Bill Cochran.
Well, in Indian Rocks Beach, there was a lot of red tide a few months ago, but now it seems to be cleared up along the coast, the west coast of Florida. The red tide that came right during spring break, so the kids that came down here from up north on spring break, they had to swim in the swimming pools or hang around the hotel. You know, they didn't want to go in that water because, with dead fish, who really wants to go swimming? But this is a problem that we have to live with in Florida. Nobody knows why. It's on the west coast. Got something to do maybe with that oil leak about 10 years ago, that pipeline that's out in